Here's something a lot of people don't realize about their IRA. It's not just your account. The IRS is a silent partner sitting right there with you, and how much of that money you actually get to keep depends on how well you plan around them. We're going to dig deep into that today on the Howdy Neighbor Retirement Show.
It's the Howdy Neighbor Retirement Show.
Howdy neighbor, I'm Michael Andrews with Andrews Insurance and Advisory, and you're listening to the Howdy Neighbor Retirement Show, where we tackle real-life questions about retirement, Medicare, and Social Security, and we do it every single week. Today, once again, backed by popular demand, I might add, is a full-blown Michael tutorial. So we're going to talk about why proactive tax planning, not just tax prep, may be one of the most important things that you can do for your retirement. Now, if you've listened to me in the past, you've heard me say that tax planning is one of the most important parts of building a real retirement plan. The other day, I was reading an article from a guy by the name of Ed Slott. He's a well-known retirement tax expert, and he made a point in there that I think more people need to hear. This is what he said: tax preparation costs you money, but tax planning makes you money. I think that is a great way of putting it, and I want to spend a little time today unpacking what that really means. Tax preparation is what most people are used to. You do this, you gather your documents, different things like that. You take them to a CPA or a tax preparer. They put the numbers in the right boxes. You either get a refund or sometimes, unfortunately, you got to write a check. But that is a backward-looking exercise. It's just reporting what's already happened. Tax planning, however, is forward-looking. It's asking things like, how do we structure income, withdrawals, and account types over the next several years so you can keep more of your money instead of just handing it over to Uncle Sam year after year. And the reason this matters more now than ever is because of how much money is sitting in tax-deferred accounts. In Slott's article, this is what he said, and I found this hard to believe, but he said that there is nearly $50 trillion sitting in tax-deferred accounts. So these are things like IRAs and 401ks across the country. And every dollar of that money is eventually going to get taxed. So if you've done a good job saving and your IRA has grown a lot, man, that is great. But it also means you have a bigger tax bill waiting on you down the road. That is what I mean when I say your IRA is a joint account with the IRS. You may see the whole balance on your statement, but the IRS is sitting right there waiting for their cut. Now here's where things can get super interesting. We are in a very, very great window right now where federal tax rates are historically low. With the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, those lower tax rates have been extended, at least for now. So the question becomes, if you know that money is going to be taxed eventually, well, do you want to pay taxes on it today at today's lower rates? Or do you want to take your chances on whatever rates we have 10 to 15 years from now? Because nobody really knows what tax rates are going to look like down the road. This is where things like Roth conversions come into play. The idea to that is pretty simple. You just take some money out of your traditional IRA, you pay the taxes on it today at these lower rates, you move it over into a Roth IRA. And from that point forward, if it's done correctly, that money grows tax-free and qualified withdrawals come out completely tax-free. It is essentially taking some of the IRS off the title of your retirement account. And at one point, I really want to drive this home. Don't waste a low bracket, people. A lot of times folks retire and they say, I'm not going to touch my IRA until I'm absolutely required to for RMDs. But that could be 10 years or 12 years sitting in a lower tax bracket without doing anything strategic about it. And when those RMDs finally kick in, they can push you up into higher brackets, drag more of your Social Security into being taxable, and even increase your Medicare premiums through IRA. So those years right after retirement, right before RMDs start, can be some of the most valuable tax planning years of your entire retirement. And a lot of people just simply let them slip by. Now, I also want to hit on something else that I think is really important, and that is what happens to your IRA when you pass away. Under the Secure Act, most non-spouse beneficiaries, so these would be kids, grandkids, stuff like that, They have to fully empty an inherited IRA within 10 years. So if you spent a lifetime building up a huge IRA balance and you leave it to your kids, they are not going to be able to stretch that out over their entire lifetime the way that people used to. They are going to have to pull it out within 10 years, and that income is going to land right on top of whatever they are already earning. For a lot of working age adults, that can mean a serious tax hit at exactly the wrong time. And listen, we have no idea what tax rates will look like 10 years from now. They could be higher, they could be much higher. So if part of your plan is to leave money to your kids, this is a conversation worth having now, because there may be ways to reduce that future tax bill by doing some planning today. Whether that is Roth conversions, charitable strategies, or sometimes even looking at how life insurance might fit into that picture. So today we talked about why tax planning is much more than just doing your taxes once a year, and why your IRA is actually a joint account with you and Uncle Sam. And it's that way until you try to do something about it. We talked about how tax rates today are historically low, why those years before RMDs can be such a good window to do something proactive, and how the Secure Act 10-year rule can create a tax problem for the next generation if you plan to give it to them. The big takeaway is this: the money you saved is only worth what you actually get to keep, and tax planning is one of the biggest levers you have to control that. So if you've got a question that you'd like for me to tackle on a future episode, shoot me an email at michael@andrewsadv.com. I read every single one of them, and I just might answer yours on a future episode. You've worked hard to build your retirement, and you don't have to make these decisions alone. If you want a second opinion on your retirement plan, then hey, I'm here to help you. It doesn't cost anything for me to take a look, but all you folks sitting out there with those big IRAs not letting me, it could cost you maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you're ready to take this to the next level, call or text me at 918-842-7379 or schedule a time on my calendar at andrewsadv.com. And whether you're listening on the radio, YouTube, or Facebook, make sure you subscribe and follow the Howdy Neighbor Retirement Show so you don't miss next week's episode. If this helped, give it a like, share it with a friend who could use some good neighborly retirement advice. Thanks again for joining me, and we'll see you all next week right here on the Howdy Neighbor Retirement Show. Thanks.
It's the Howdy Neighbor Retirement Show, helping you plan so your money will grow. No need to worry, we'll make it clear. Medicare and retirement right here.